Welcome to That's Good Crack.
With me, Dan, Colin.
How is? What's the crack?
And Mick.
Yo, yo, yo.
Listen to our podcast every Wednesday.
All right, welcome to podcast 12 of That's Good Crack. And with me, Dan. And how are you, lads? How's Mick?
Fantastic, Danny. What's the crack?
Mighty. And Colin, what's the crack with you, by all?
Sure, the crack was good in Cricklewood and I wouldn't have left the crown. Huh? I'm telling you now.
The crack was 90 in the Isle of Man.
I swear, Mick, we need to make that song, man. We need to make that song. I keep talking about making a song all the time for the crack song.
Yeah?
Yeah, I keep talking about it, but I never get around to doing it.
You need to rap in it, lads.
This Friday, Mick.
Absolutely.
We're going to start writing this shit. Going to get the guitar out, going to get the bodhrán out, we're going to fucking...
Just freestyle it.
Freestyle it, yeah.
Freestyle the shit out of it.
Anyway, so what's the crack?
What have you been up to, Mick? How's the training going for this hell and back?
Training's going really well. I kind of do 5k. For people that don't know, if it's the first time listening, a couple of weeks ago, I decided I was going to do a hell and back, which is a run, an 8k run through the mud and over obstacles and all this type of thing that a friend of mine is doing for his 40th birthday. Colin has decided to come on board with, and I'm a guy who has virtually no experience with running, and got a lot of negativity around it, a lot of hate kind of thing. You wouldn't be able to do it, all this type of stuff, you know what I mean, which kept me down for a while, but the encouragement of listening to the boys overcoming all their shit in life, I just kind of went, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to fucking do it. But went out, I've been running 5Ks and running 8Ks, and it's crazy, just learning from you about running, the different techniques and the mental side of it, has been massive. Going out and I could do a 5k and it would feel like 50k, and then go do 8k and you feel like you do 80. It's just all in the mind, and so I've really enjoyed it. I had been doing a lot of gym work, leading, that was my thing for a while there, kind of jiu-jitsu and the gym, and I put on some muscle mass and everything like that, and I have lost every bit of it.
I'm sitting here looking at you on the screen and I'm thinking you're after trimming down quite a little bit there, aren't you?
It's falling off me. It's absolutely falling off me.
But even when you said that to me the other day about you'd cut down some weight, I never even remembered or linked that you're out been running 8 kilometers every few days, you know what I mean? That's just and then eating well, everything.
I always pretty well, you know what I mean. I eat a lot, but I eat well, and that really hasn't changed. My diet hasn't changed, so as my exercise changed, it just has a marked effect on me, you know what I mean? Because which is literally falling off me. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up now on the 15th, and nice little challenge, you know what I mean? A nice little thing to kind of tick off the book and go. Yeah, so I was doing that, and then over the weekend I brought my daughter to London. It was a lovely weekend, and lovely to connect in, you know what I mean. She's 20 now, she's been in college and she's been living in Paris. She was living in Paris before college and all this, so and she works as well. She's very she's great like that, so she works at the weekends, so our time is very, very limited, and so it's just beautiful to go away for the weekend, and went to a BTS concert, which was an experience. If people don't know, it's a Korean pop band, 7 guys who are a phenomenon. It's Beatlesque. That's the kind of thing when you see those old movies of the screaming. Literally, it was in Wembley Stadium. It was for 26 songs, they did 89,999 girls screamed, and there was me, and I was basically
you screaming as well.
Yeah, of course. But they
screaming in pain.
Yeah, but actually, I can't explain to you the noise. I've been to lots and lots of gigs, lads, loads and loads of gigs, and I have never experienced the volume. When they do costume changes, they would put up on the screen. They would put up these videos of the guys, just a bit of music playing, and the guys would be looking longingly at the screen and want to just raise an eyebrow. and the place would erupt. I mean, distorting my hearing. It was that loud, and so yeah, it's just unbelievable. But it was a great experience. Other than that, it was just lovely to hang out with my daughter. Something we realised is that we can spend long periods of time together, perfectly comfortable, not saying anything. And I think that says a lot. You know, it's like I actually said it to her. I was on the way home. I was like, I just don't feel any need to fill in the spaces, like, which is lovely. You know, like in a way, we're just comfortable in each other's presence, and that's just something that kind of came to me on the way home from the airport. So yeah, that was my weekend. Really enjoyed it. And also there was like, you know, linking back into our thing, it was because of the age demographic, it was unusual to have virtually no alcohol at a gig of that magnitude. You know, like in a way, it actually brings a totally different energy to it. As everyone walked out, it was just an energy that I'd never experienced after a gig. You know, normally there's just like, you know, there's craziness of some sort, or, you know, there's a bit of a vibe. Absolutely nothing. But yeah, so that was interesting. But anyway, how'd you get on, Colin?
Oh, Michael, thank you. How'd you get on, Colin? It was such an elegant way to put my name. How did I do? I don't fuck all, man. I was just chilling for most of the weekend. Went to a couple of social things, nothing major, but yeah, just keeping it very simple, man. I'm trying to think of something. I also got back into the run as well, and that was a massive struggle, man. I'd like to say I'm carrying extra weight, but they're talking about like 2 kilos extra. They used to run before, like just struggling out there, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I think it's this vape fucking thing. I don't know if anyone vapes. But it's, yeah, I need to stop this shit. But it's actually quite difficult to stop vaping nicotine more so than cigarettes, I think, you know that? So that's something I want to do, and I need to get a nicotine sponsor. A nicotine sponsor. Look, that's it. It's no joke, man. I've been trying it. I tried a few times now to knock this shit on the head, like, and it's just fucking. You know, remember when we gave up smoking before, Mick? Your man said to us, you know, that you're creating a war in your head. It's something along the lines of that, you know, that you're expecting this big battle and this big war. But that's where I'm at with it now. Is like, when I think of giving it up, even yesterday, I was thinking, you know, I need to stop this shit because I hate doing it. It's just a complete and utter habit. And I was just thinking to myself that I'm in that stage now where I'm prepared for war when I'm thinking about giving up. You know, not war, a battle. I'm prepared for a battle. Whereas when we give up smoking before, all those years ago, we didn't. I approached that just, I don't smoke anymore. Why the fuck would I want a cigarette? You know what I mean? You know, every time I wanted a cigarette, I was just kind of looking at it and going, I don't smoke anymore. Why the fuck would I want a cigarette? You know, but this is. I need to get into that right mindset where just, you know, I don't really care if I smoke or not, or vape or not. So yeah, that's a struggle, man. At the minute. Yeah,
no, it's just to go back to the story of like how we ended up giving up the cigarettes, like on our about, like, you know what I mean, was it 10, 11 years ago now? We were in Berlin. I met up with this guy, Jens, was his name.
That's right,
and, yeah, Jens. Jens is really cool. We had to give back the camper van, and we had a day. We were in Berlin. We had this day, and Jens let us use his apartment, put all our stuff in it. Like,
never met him before.
Never met him before in our lives. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Jens was a cool guy, man.
Jens was a cool guy. Jens had every single penny that he had, every bit of cash. What he did was, he put it in a stack and he left it on the shelf in the sitting room. And basically it was like, well, if you want to rob me, lads, don't go ransack the place. It's all there. This was his way of doing it, like, you know what I mean? It was so cool, right? And he ended up bringing us to this lake that he did, like, you know, lifeguard at, and he got us in for free. It's like in the middle of Berlin. It's just
shit, I remember that now.
Yeah, and it's like it's this oasis in the middle of Berlin. It's just amazing, big massive lake, all rocks beside him like that. But anyway, there's a bit of sand there, and you can dive off these diving boards and everything. So he's like a steamboat up and down, and we're like messing around, jumping in, diving in, everything like that. And he goes, oh yeah, and then next minute I just wanted a cigarette, so I got out and I was sitting on this thing and I was having a cigarette with one of the guys, and next minute he got out and he goes, "You gonna go back in?" And I says, "No, fuck it, having a fag now, I won't." And I says, "Do you smoke?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Did you ever smoke?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "I've thought about giving up, you know, but this guy who actually was traveling with us, he used to always say, basically he was saying that, like, you know, cigarettes was the hardest thing of any drugs or anything he ever gave up." And Jens just turns around and he goes, "That's not true," you know, in a German kind of matter-of-fact way. And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, no disrespect to your friend, but that's not true." And I went, "All right." He says, "All that happens is we expect to be always comfortable in our lives." This was his thing. He said, "We get a headache, you have to take a tablet straight away," you know what I mean? Any discomfort is just, you know, you can't have it, like, you know. So when you go to give up, there's all this psychology around giving up cigarettes. It's just built up to be such a big thing in society. It's so difficult that we have this, like Colin was talking about, this battle is set up in our head, and then we set ourselves up for failure, like, you know what I mean? We give a countdown. We're said, right, on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I'm giving up. Then if you meet somebody and you're starting to give it up, the first thing you'll say is, "Oh, I'm trying to give up cigarettes," and they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, it's really tough," everything like that. So all these kind of mental things are making it more difficult. He went into like the fact that it's only 3 to 5 days that the actual physical thing happens, and after that it's totally mental. He suggested, like, actually when you get a craving, to sit down and actually feel it. Don't run from it. Don't go like, "Oh shit, I can't." He says sit down and feel actually what's going on. And also little tips like about actually getting rid of cravings, that they come and they go, and like is certain things you could eat fruit and you don't feel like smoking, brush your teeth, you don't feel like smoking,
orange
all this
juice.
type of stuff, orange juice, anything like that. Yeah.
Because
so all these
actually,
practical things as well.
I applied the orange juice to it, because who do you ever see walking around smoking a cigarette with a nice bottle of orange juice in their hand?
Impossible.
So,
can't happen.
It's so true, isn't it?
Oh,
like, who the fuck do you ever see? And I remember thinking that. I remember thinking, Jesus, this is so logical and simple.
Yeah.
And it worked, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, because I gave up and you had like 2,000 cigarettes. But like when you got back, it was 1,500 cigarettes. And so you said, right, when I smoke these, I'll give up. And to be honest with you, I didn't think you would. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, right. But like, I ended up coming back, and like, I was a heavy smoker. I was like, you know what I mean? At that stage, especially traveling around Eastern Europe for cheap cigarettes. Do you remember I used to get up like 4 times in the night to have a cigarette?
Yeah.
And so it was like, you know what I mean? I like had a massive tolerance to cigarettes and everything. And everything he said panned out. Like, it was a couple of days where I was a bit crazy. I did have to have a chat with my kids at the time and say, listen, I'm going to be a bit nuts. I'm giving up cigarettes, you know what I mean? And so just bear with me on this one. And but, you know, I just didn't go around people, didn't go out to the smoking areas, didn't go, you know, hanging out with people that were smoking, and which I actually found difficult. But and then just after a couple of days, I realised, like, you know what I mean, that right, the physical side is gone, but the mental thing, the power of the mental thing. And I actually did what he said. I sat and I felt what was going on in my body when I was getting the craving to have a cigarette. It was the first time in my life I had ever actually sat down and went, what is happening? Because like he talked about, the second I would get that discomfort, it would be like, I have to get rid of this discomfort. And like, different stages in my life, depending on what I was craving, that could go from, like, you know what I mean, I'll just go get something, to a madness to get rid of that feeling. When I actually felt it was just an uneasiness in my stomach. That's all it was. Like,
that's all it fucking is. Like,
that's it. Know? And it's like, it's nothing. It's nothing that you would take a tablet for. If you woke up, you wouldn't go like, oh shit, I need to take something to get rid of that. But the mental thing that is connected to you, this battle that you believe is happening, like, you mean, that we are conditioned to believe that there's this massive battle, it's this, like, you know, life or death situation. It's just not true. It's not that is true, but it's what your mind is telling you about. When I sat there, I remember sitting in my kitchen, and it was the first time it ever happened, and I went, that's it. That's what I've fucking been feeling. That's why I've been fucking running, like, you know, all these years, like, you know what I mean? And So yeah, it was crazy. I can't believe it. Sure, it's over 10 years now since I gave them up, like, you know. And I remember at the time, I didn't care about my health, I'll be honest with you. Didn't care about the money. I didn't care about any of those things. When I actually did it, my sleep improved on day or night one. It was just totally changed. Like, you know what I mean? My health, became able to run, like, you know what I mean? Do shit with me kids, like, you know what I mean? And not be, like, you know what I mean? Fucked from it, you know? Like, you know, be wrecked. And then the money thing is just like, you know what I mean, especially now, like, I mean, the price was crazy. But anyway, I just thought we'd fill in because that might help with someone, because like lots and lots of people have like, you know what I mean, done this. My partner, she was a smoker, like we're together 8 years, and she was smoking up when we got together. And I actually told her what I had done, and she did it, and she had struggled for years trying to give up. And other people as well, like all from that guy Jens, and having the chat with us after that, you know. But again, it's one of those things where we talk about here time and time again. You have people who have experience with something, and they're able to tell you what they did. You put that into practice, and the same thing happens, you know.
Oh man, I'm knocking this shit on the head today. That's going in the bin now when I go. I was afraid to throw it out and everything just in case, you know, like, anyway, but that's pure setting yourself up for fucking failure. That's like, you know, going to give up the drink but just leave the bag of cans in the fridge just in case, you know. Oh, I'm going to give up the crack, but you know what, I'm just going to leave the pipe in the drawer just in case, you know what I mean?
It's interesting, like what you talked about.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Mick. It's interesting what you talked about, because it sounds like Jens it sounds like maybe he read the book that I read. I think I gave up when I was 2 years after drinking drugs, so this year I'll be about 17 years off cigarettes. And when I gave up, I read a book called, I read it 4 fucking times because it took that long to get it into me thick head. But I read it, it's called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. And it was basically the same kind of concept, like that, you know, the physical addiction leaves very, very quick. And it's a mental thing. And it's like the concept of, you must have a cigarette when you're smoking, when you're having a coffee. You must have a cigarette when you're on the phone. All the mental ties you have to smoking. And that very thing, what you talked about, was like being able to sit with the feeling of that discomfort, but actually, in another way, enjoying the discomfort, because it's the end, it's the process of letting go or taking on a new form of life.
Yes, Danny, this is what I'm talking about, Danny. This is the fucking, this, you know, is like enjoying the process. You know, I love it. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Sitting there and going, this is me taking on a new life. You know what I mean? This is me going, okay, I'm feeling discomfort. It's like when you're lifting weights and you're like, shit, that thing weighs a fucking ton. Do you know what I mean? But after this, I'm going to be able to lift more, and my muscles are going to get bigger. And it's the same way when you stop smoking, you get that, you go, shit, I want a cigarette. But you know what? This is me starting a new life, a life with smell again, a life with taste of food, a life with, you know, things that cigarettes took away. Because if you really boil it down to it, it actually benefits nothing in your life. You know what I mean?
Zero.
Absolutely. And it takes away so much. And without it, you add so much more to your life. You become so much, you know. And the other thing that you thought, when I stopped, what really was more than anything was this fact of I could be in the presence of people without obsessing about trying to get outside to smoke a cigarette, you know, to be there. Because when you want a cigarette, when I wanted a cigarette and I was chatting to, say, you guys, and I wanted a cigarette, I'd stop listening, because all I'd be thinking about is how I can fucking end this conversation so I can get outside and have my cigarette, because I need this fucking cigarette, because I'm feeling this little bit of discomfort. And a lot of that was in the book, and I really enjoyed the book because it literally gave me, it's the easy way to stop smoking. And funny enough, it was an easy way to stop smoking, and it was more or less identical to what you talked about.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Sure it was. I actually had the book years ago. I never actually read it, too lazy. But like having Jens tell us, and it was just something that you actually said there, that leading. Yeah, it just reminds me what you're talking about, Danny, of something that was told to me years ago, that if you're trying to give up something, that you're going to have cravings around. if you decide that you're heading towards a destination, say for instance, it's like what you call it, like a day off drugs or a day off drink or something like that, that you see that as a destination you want to get to, rather than be taken away from the substance like a cigarette or a drink or whatever it is. You're heading towards something, you know, and it's just that change in psychology or mental. It really, really helped me, because that kind of feeling of being taken away from something that I wanted, you know what I mean, or craved, had a very, very powerful psychological effect on me. But when I changed my perspective that I was heading towards something like more positive, something that I wanted, it just gave me more strength. And back to what you were talking about, Colin, also about like the vape and like, you know, keeping the few cans. A guy told me years ago, there's two types of people that give up cigarettes. One needs 20 cigarettes in the press just to know that if it gets too much, they can have it, and that keeps them calm. And then there's some other people who need to be kept from every cigarette. There's no smell, no touch, no anything. You can't even see a cigarette box. And I'm actually the type of person who needs the 20 cigarettes in the press. I need to know at 2 o'clock in the morning that if this gets to the point, I still have the choice. Just my mentality, and that's the way I've always done things, you know what I mean? And I've been able to do it, like, you know what I mean? Once I have those other things in place, I actually do want to give it up, and I actually like have empowered myself with doing everything I can to make it possible. Then I can have it there, because I do get like this panicky feeling when I feel like I couldn't make the decision if I needed to. But that's just me. That's me.
Yeah, I didn't have any backup the last time I didn't have any backup now the last time I gave them up. But after this conversation, I'm feeling really positive about the whole thing. I'm definitely doing it. This time next week, I'm going to be a week off, all right? There's awesome. A deal.
Awesome.
That's it. No, I am. I don't know why you didn't say it to you before, Mick. You know, when we're chatting shit and having dinner and that kind of stuff, I don't know why I never said it before, because it is something that I'm actually sick to the teeth of. And like you, I'm feeling cheated here at the minute now, that I think, actually, because I get you just what you said, Danny, you made me realize I am getting nothing from this relationship with nicotine. I am getting absolutely nothing from this relationship with nicotine, and that motherfucker is getting years of my life, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think, why am I doing this? Why?
It's a pretty shit feedback or payback, isn't it?
It is. There's no fucking reward, like that doesn't justify the action, you know what I mean? So I was sitting there thinking, why am I doing this and what am I afraid of, man? It's like you said, 3 days, lads. Like I hopped, skipped and jumped off the cigarettes that time we gave them up, Mick, and I'd been smoking for years, man, you know? Yeah. Like, and it wasn't a battle because it was my mindset. It wasn't a battle because it was mindset. It was like when I gave up drugs and I accepted it. When I got to that point where I had accepted this shit, that this wasn't working for me anymore, it was a fucking breeze. Now, I don't mean completely easy. To get to the acceptance point was very, very challenging. But actually, after I fully accepted and became afraid of the consequences of things like cigarettes, I'm not smoking cigarettes, but vaping, we don't know what the fucking consequences of those things are.
More is coming out about it. More and more.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know. All right. You know, I don't want to know.
I said it to my son years ago when they came out first, and you know, his nan and different people they were heavy smokers, and they'd started to vape, and it was great. My brother's the same thing. He was a very heavy smoker. He started to vape, and it's a lot better. But my thing then, and it still is, a thing that is too good to be true is too good to be true. It can't be that, you know. Yeah. You know, there's just no effect. I just don't buy it. You know what I mean? People going around like a steam.
Yeah, it's not any worse, I don't think.
No, I don't believe
by physical effects on the body, it's a lot gentler on the body. Yeah. Right? It's because when I used to go out running, when I'd be smoking, like I'd try to go run, I'd be bollocksed after a kilometer, like, you know what I mean, physically. And then as soon as I stopped doing it and I start vaping that time, I felt a difference instantly, you know what I mean? It's definitely gentler on the body than it is than smoking. Like, smoking is just a nasty motherfucker, like, you know what I mean? Like, straight off the bat, there's no denying it, you know what I mean? There's sometimes I smoke a couple of cigarettes at night time, like if I'm out or something like that, and the next morning I wake up, I can't breathe or nothing, man, and I'm stinking like an ashtray, you know what I mean? No, but man, what the fuck is that about? You know what I mean? Seriously, in 2019, like, we know these are little soldiers of death that we're buying, right? That's just us. I'm talking about people in general, right? We know there is nothing good going to come out of this. Only, have you ever, like, when you see people with lung cancer and stuff like that, man, it's fucking, I've seen it, like, you know, it's just, it blows my mind why these things, why we still, as humans, still fucking do this thing. Like, it's amazing. I know, that's it. I'm done with this shit. I really am. You heard it live and loud on episode 12 of the podcast.
It's been great at this podcast. If nothing else, no one could be listening, right? No one could be listening. And the three of us, like, all the shit we're doing out of it, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, started a run, giving up vape and all of this, but it's cool.
But no, it's really nice with this podcast. The amount of people have said to me they've started drinking more water, or they've changed their diet a little bit, or they've started looking at things differently, or, you know, they're able to give some information to someone. It's mad. I would have never thought, like, like that people would, you know, I don't know, I suppose I never thought about it that much. Like, I just thought people would listen to it, but I didn't think it would effectively help change people's lives for the better. You know, I'm not saying we're responsible for it, but, you know, it's like that thing you say, Mick, with just sharing experience. Like, when you pass on experience of something that works, like, to someone else, or when someone gives it to you, it really does help a lot, you know. But even talking to you about that nicotine stuff, like, between your inspirational Yen speech and then Danny fucking bigging up the positive, you know, moving forward to a new life. This is it. I'm moving forward to a new fucking life.
Praise the Lord!
Victory! This is it. I already feel good. I swear to God, this is fantastic stuff. Because, you know, when you spoke about that, you know, like, you're not getting anything from it, I did feel cheated. It's kind of like being baptized when you didn't ask to be baptized, like, you know, and a doctor, that's my thing. I feel very cheated by those fuckers as well, like the fact that I'm indoctrinated into something, and I kind of feel like cigarettes done that too, you know, and nicotine. Yeah, so that's it. There's cigarettes in the Catholic Church. Just
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Catholics or like that. That's not what I mean. It's just for me. It's my own thing.
I've never been licked by a cat. But on another note, what you were saying there, Mick, was very interesting, because that's a really important thing that I learned from that book. Was, instead of focusing on something that I'm giving up, focusing on something that I'm taking on. So I'm taking on a new lease of life. So instead of saying I'm giving, I never went, when I stopped smoking, I didn't go around saying I'm giving up. I was going around saying I'm taking on a new life. I'm taking on a life that's going to have clean lungs. I'm going to have a life where I'm not going to be focused on smoking anymore. And like, even the taste of food, all the positives that come from it as well, just focusing on them, as opposed to, I'm giving up something. Because you're not really fucking giving up anything. You're giving up on that something.
Not giving up, fuck all.
It's kind of pain in the bollocks. That's the truth, like.
Sorry, I know I'm swearing a lot on this one, which I think.
Yeah, we all
as opposed to what?
I know I swear a lot. That's why we have the content or explicit content fucking sticker on iTunes. But it's just that it emphasizes things a lot more, you know, as an Irishman. The only people I've ever met that swear as much as Irish people is the Australians. You love those words. But no, that it just emphasized. But I'm excited about this now. I'm definitely doing it. This day next week, I will be 7 days off nicotine. I'm making that commitment. Yeah, it is. Whoa, it's fucking hard, man. Like, until now, I don't feel like it's going to be hard, you know. But it's just all about that mindset, and that goes for everything, doesn't it? That goes for everything. Like, the three of us fast a lot, and it can be the same as well until you get into that positive mindset of, oh, this is easy. It can be a challenge. Not eating till 10 o'clock in the morning can be a challenge if my headspace isn't right, you know. So just explain there to the listeners who don't know about intermittent fasting, like what it is. Yeah, it's just, and it, like, for me with the intermittent fasting. So Mick, you kind of brought it to my attention first. George St. Pierre on the Joe Rogan podcast spoke about it too, and I kind of got curious about it. But I think it was you that kind of told me I should really try it, like, and get into it. So it's basically fasting for 16 hours a day. The basic fast is fasting for 16 hours a day, and then having an 8-hour window to eat and stuff. And during the 16 hours, you can only have green tea, black coffee, or water. And that initially, I remember doing that the first time, and it was super scary. I'd get to 11 o'clock at night, like after not eating since 6 o'clock. Like I was starving and haven't eaten in years. You know what I mean? When you think about how stupid that is, you know what I mean? That is so fucking stupid, like that. It's afraid of what? What am I afraid of when it comes to these things? Nothing bad is going to happen. It's only getting better, you know? But the positive side of it that I found from this is like all the excess weight that I would have had, like 3 or 4 kilos, just disappears after maybe a week or 10 days of fasting. And I just find I feel lighter, I feel better, I have more energy levels and all that when I got used to it. But it took me a little while to get used to it. But now I can do 24 hours quite easily, you know. And when I said this, I remember saying this to my mom recently. I told her I was after doing a 24-hour fast, and she says she thought I was like a bit mad, you know, like about weight and obsessed with weight loss and all that. But I wasn't. But it just kind of got me used to. I got to a point where that is easy to do now, and it's not that big of a deal. And Mick, I think it was you that said it to me, that hunger becomes a different feeling. The feeling of
when
hunger.
you understand it. I never understood it. That's
yeah.
just a chemical that's released in your body, and that comes in waves. The hunger isn't a thing that just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse and worse. You get hungry. You know, if you drink water, you'll actually, a lot of the time you're just dehydrated. You're not actually hungry. But like that hunger, that feeling of hunger just comes in a wave and goes. Like the same as a craving for a cigarette. It just comes. And if you just understand that and just ride the wave and let it pass and let it go, and it'll pass. But just once I understood that, actually, like I used to think it was this thing, again, what your mind will do when you have those feelings, this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. I have to eat. And but like when you actually do it and you feel the benefits of it, like actually giving your digestive system a break, you know, it's not meant to be working all the time. Like we're constantly putting food in there. That's not how our species, like, you know, developed, you know. We never had that much food. We were never eating that much all the time. And you just realize that you don't actually need it. Like, you know what I mean? Your body just feels so much better after it. And but again, it's like, you know, back into what you were saying, Colin, it's just that mental thing. For me, once I actually understand what's happening, it makes it so much easier. It's not this mysterious thing that's just this massive boogeyman that's like, oh my God, this feeling is just going to overwhelm me. And, you know, it's just, once I understand it, I can kind of go, wait a minute, what is this? It's not that bad. Like when I actually feel it and I can disconnect the fearful thoughts that are in my mind to what is going on in my body, it's like, all right, I've actually gained some power over this now. I don't have to be like it's slave, you know what I mean? There's just shoveling cigarettes or food or whatever into my mouth, you know?
Because I find my want for sugar drops when I start fasting, like, regularly, you know? So most weeks I will do 3 to 5 days at least of fasting, you know? And it helps me maintain a steady weight. Like at the minute I'm 84 kilos and I was on 91 kilos for a long time. When I moved back to Ireland, because, you know, Ireland, the diet here, I don't know what it is, man, whether it's the weather or whatever, but every time I came back to Ireland, I'd fatten up for a little while, you know what I mean? But I was 91 kilos, and now it allowed me to get down to 84, and I'm constant, even though I ate a lot of food this weekend and that, I go back into it now straight away, and I'm managing to keep that 84 kilos. And that's where I feel comfortable at, you know what I mean? But I find that my sugar, the want for sugar and all, drops. You know, and sugar is like drugs and nicotine for me, man. If I pick up one, I just want more and more and more. It's easier for me not to eat candy or sweet things or stuff than it is to have whenever.
Sugar craves sugar.
Yeah, man. It's easier for me to not have any sugar than it is to
total abstinence.
A little piece. Yeah, I suppose it's the same with everything. Once you get used to actually total abstinence from things, you know. But yeah, man, This is like a nicotine sugar support group.
No, well, listen, it's cool. It's just cool the way that happened. You know what I mean? I think, you know, just to be able to share our experience about giving up the smokes and that, and definitely, like, you know, like that information, that's all we used. And comparatively speaking, like to any other time I tried anything like that, it was very easy to give up. Once you can get past that mindset of thinking it's this epic battle. And so, like, you know, that's, I've seen it time and time again. Anyone that's applied it and has really wanted to do it has been able to do it, you know. And so I think that's it's just cool the way that kind of unfolded, you know. And we have the goal of the hell and back and the running. Now you're giving up the vape, you know what I mean?
A lot of good comes out of this podcast. You know, that's why I was saying to you a while ago, we should start a little group, man, and anyone that wants to jump into it, because that just to share it with people, we have a WhatsApp group, and it's a very positive space, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
a very positive space, and usually WhatsApp groups are sent like fucking sex videos and shit like that. Get sent or memes and all this bullshit. You know what I mean? But I find that our WhatsApp group can be a very positive space, which is quite nice, you know. So I think we should definitely set up something that people that listen to the podcast or wherever, we can just jump in and share positive vibes only, not memes.
So if anyone's listening and they want to, like, you know, throw us a line, like, we'll give the information for how to contact us and see if you'd like to, you know, come on board and get involved in the group.
I know you wanted to put it on Facebook, like a Facebook forum, but I just think for handiness sake, man, do it. Put it on the WhatsApp, you know.
Yeah, but it'll work. Cool.
Yeah, just because I think it's more easier, because like to go on to I know this will sound stupid, but as a person who works on social media every day, like, it's like to go on to Facebook and go into the group is actually a, you know, it's just to be clear, I wasn't actually Facebook. I was just saying that I'm not like up on all the different forums. I'm just saying that, like, with the WhatsApp group where posts can get lost, you have to go back up through the thread to find out where it was. Whereas with the Facebook setup, there could be other ones, and that's what I was open to. Is that you see the post, and then there's comments under each one, and that's what you. Anyway, we could sort all the logistics out of it after. But if people want to contact us about it, like, you know what I mean, where can they find us, Danny?
Well, you can find us on that_crack, or they can find us at this beautiful email that you know, Mick.
3, as in the number 3, drylads@gmail.com.
I hit us up on the Instagram. I know I'm gone the last week. I've had a few mails that I need to reply to and stuff. I've been super busy, so I plan on sitting down one evening and just replying to everyone. But get in touch if you want to jump in. We're going to set up a little WhatsApp group or some group like that, and it's just for positive vibes. If you want to stop smoking or whatever it is, like we do, we just share videos all the time or share tips for doing the different things. So hit us up on the Insta or at That's Good Crack Podcast, or else on the Facebook, just search for That's Good Crack. Yeah, get in touch. Also, Mick, remember what we were saying the other day? You should about people, if they have things they need to, like, if they have serious addiction problems and all that. I was just thinking, like, you know what I mean, just if anyone is listening, and just to understand that, like, if you feel that you have a serious issue with drink or drugs, you know, this podcast, I'm sure you'll hear some things, you know what I mean, from our experiences that will help. But really, you know, you should try and get some, like, you know, what you call proper help. You know, there could be drug services in your areas that you could ring, and, like, you know, there's a tried and tested way of helping yourself is through going to 12-step recovery groups. You know, you'll find them online, any contact numbers or anything like that you need for them. So just to have it in mind that if you do feel like you have an issue with any of these things, go get some help. You know what I mean? You'll never know what could happen. Yeah, that's a good advice and a good tip, because we've all had help in a myriad of different ways, I suppose, over the years, and even now, still to this very days. Even today was a huge help for me on this chat. Yeah, man, this is good. It's been a great podcast for me. I really enjoyed it a lot.
I mean, the thing, just to touch on it, is what you're on about the fasting. Like, that's a whole new experience for me. I've never never done it before, and I only started because you guys I think it was you, Colin, mentioned it to me, and I started doing it, and it's not that hard at all, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And it makes life easier because you know your cut-off time. You know when you're coming back to eating again, and during that time, the only thing, a couple of nights I find myself a moody bastard. You know what I mean? I could be a little bit hungry, and I can be a cranky bastard. That's the only thing I notice on it sometimes.
Hangry,
yeah, the whole hangry kicks in, and that's does happen to me sometimes. I'm actually starting, and I'm going to do a metabolic reset. Starting next week, which is like a 21-day thing with different phases. It's to do with taking particular. So I'll tell you more about it when I go through it. But it's an interesting one. It's a metabolic reset over 21 days, and it continues over 6 months. So I'm going to give that a lash and see what the hell it's all about. Like something new, something different. Like worth trying. I'm always up for trying something different.
Yeah, just to touch on that one, right? So if anyone's listening that's an expert in nutrition or fasting or any of that stuff that we talk about, drop us a message. We'd like to get in touch. Maybe we could have a chat on the podcast, because that would be pretty cool. Because like Amy, Thrive in Recovery with Amy, like she suggested before, that the gut, everything is related to the gut. You know, that was a big eye opener for me as well. Shout out to Amy. She's an awesome human being. Maybe we should get her back just to talk about that stuff sometime. What do you think?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, she was very knowledgeable about it, wasn't she?
And just if anyone is going to, you're thinking of doing the fasting, YouTube full of videos, it's great. Yeah. But the one thing I'd say to you is drink loads of water. Loads and loads and loads of water. Like if you're feeling hungry, if you're not, go on, Danny. Danny's waving around his bottle of water. So
baby.
So it's Colin, but Colin and mine is drank. And but it's like, that's it. A lot of the time you're just dehydrated, you think you're hungry. But listen, it's just the one thing I'd say, if you are going to try it, drink lots of water.
Great podcast. Thanks for the positive help, positive support. I'm going to check back in next week, and I'm going to be 7 days nicotine free.
Rocky dance.
Start crying now when we hang up the call.
Well, there's always virtual hugs here, man, if you need them, Big
love, man, big love. Okay, cool. Listen, to chat to you later, boys.
Keep the country, lads. Talk to you.
Don't forget to subscribe to That's Good Crack on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever you're listening to it right now.